We're back. This is my last podcast of the day. People don't know this. Spoiler alert, there's 4 that are filmed in one day, so I'm knackered, so I'm expecting big things from you. But there we go, it's episode 24, Beyond the Battlefield, Warrior Wellness Movement. We've got an amazing guest. We've got Laura Horn. I spoke to you very, very briefly, so I don't know too much about you, but I do know that I wanted to get you onto this show and have a chit chat. If you're watching this, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you share, etc., etc. Welcome, Laura Horn.
Thank you, Ollie, for having me.
You are very welcome. Where on earth do we start?
Well, I picked out one kind of story for you, one incident.
Yeah.
And it was when I was held up at gunpoint by guerrillas in Rio.
Brilliant. That's why when we spoke on Zoom, I went, what? Yeah. But I'll tell you what, before we do that, tell us who you are and what you do now.
Okay, so I am an advanced integral eye movement therapist, trainee supervisor for the association. I'm also a trauma-informed coach and NLP practitioner and an author.
And an author.
Yeah.
We can plug your book later on as we go through this and we'll drop the link to it. So tell us more about the eye movement in terms of therapy. How does that work?
So it works on eye accessing cues. So we store in different parts of a memory in different blinks of an eye movement. So we store imagined image, imagined sound, kinesthetic, actual image, actual sound, self-dialogue.
Then this is treatment you had before you became a therapist?
Yeah, part of it, yeah.
Is this what drove you on to be a therapist?
It was, yeah.
Because you suffered from PTSD?
Yep.
You suffered from lots of different things based on that first opening line that you just said that was going to hopefully make people go, I need to know about this. So tell us about this then. Tell us about where trauma began, or where does being held up by gunpoint fit into your life?
So I was suffering with PTSD. I was diagnosed with PTSD at the age of 18. So, but there was no treatment. I wasn't offered any treatment plan, so I struggled. I struggled massively.
Did you know back then it was PTSD?
I didn't know what it was. I just, post-traumatic stress disorder. Oh, okay. That was why I was off work. I didn't know the ins and outs of PTSD, you know?
From what, if I can ask, from what incident or what event?
I think the first one was, the actual diagnosis when my nan passed away. But there was other stuff, that was another podcast in itself. I first got diagnosed, and then, like I said, I just struggled with addictions, a chaotic lifestyle, and just kind of what would be seen as very wild behaviour. You know, I was a party girl, you know, but it was escapism. That's what it was.
Addiction in alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
To escape the reality of where you were. So take us back then. What are we talking, like university age, college age?
I was college age, yeah.
And what were you doing? As in, what were we getting up to?
Well, I was studying art and design at college. I was volunteering at the local youth club, and working in Miss Selfridge. I had about 3 different roles within in there, just trying to survive, basically. Yeah, it's tough.
At any point then, did you think you were going to be a coach some years later?
No, but I've always kind of coached myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always had that motivation, that drive. But I didn't think I was going to be a coach. But it was recommended to me, in my early 20s, I went for some counselling through work. And the counsellor said, I don't see the point of these sessions because you're basically counselling yourself. You need to become a therapist. And I was like, what? Really? I'm like early 20s and I had all this baggage of stuff.
When she says coaching yourself, doing what?
Fitness, nutrition.
Yeah. But still boozing and...
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Still relapsing, you know?
Yeah. Go on then. So tell us about this gunpoint incident whilst I melt sat here.
It's hot, isn't it? So I've been travelling through Asia, Indonesia, and South America. I've been saving about 2 or 3 years to go backpacking. And lots of stuff happened. And I ended up deciding I wanted to trek this mountain in Rio, top of a favela, which I lived at. And where I was staying, there was a load of ex-military guys there. So I said, oh, do you fancy going on this trek? Yeah, okay. So originally we decided we'd go sort of in the daytime, and then I seen a photograph of sunrise, and I was like, well, I want to go and see the sunrise. So off we set. I think I set off about 2 o'clock in the morning. And the trek, well, it's mountain, and the trek is hard to climb. But I'd already trekked it quite a few times, so I kind of knew where I was going. But it was pitch black. A few of them had head torches. And I remember saying to the guys, because I was obviously at the front, we're almost near at the top. And lo and behold, I just seen eyes and teeth and big guns. So automatically, I kind of went, sort of froze a bit. And this guy in front of me, there was a lot of them, but one of them just said, "Karma, gringa." So I'm like, oh, it's okay. Karma foreigner. These guys are behind me whispering, "Laura, we need to run." I'm like, no, we're okay. And I'm kind of stood there sort of a bit frozen for a little while. And then they're like, "Laura, come on, we need to run." So we start running for our lives. So we're running down this mountain. Some of us are just, what do you call it, spinning over, we're falling down. We get to the bottom of this favela. We take a breather. I look up. I'm like, fuck, they're coming. This pack of guerrillas with their guns. My brain couldn't communicate to my mouth to say to the guys, they're coming. So I've gone to run to the right. I've fallen down a sewer. I'm actually hanging like by my armpits. And one of the guys comes over, lifts me up, and kind of just throws me at this football cage. And we climb over this football cage, over to the other side. We get down to the bottom favela.
At what point when you run, if they're stood right next to you pointing a weapon at you, are you thinking, oh, if I run, I'm just going to get shot in the back?
Yeah.
Or did that not even...
Didn't even cross my mind.
That's...
I think just the PTSD, just that instant shock.
So you're already suffering at this point?
I was already suffering. I was living with PTSD for decades.
Wait, how long ago was this the event?
So I was in my 30s. Yeah.
That's bad.
It's,
What? So what? And then what? They just did? They stopped coming? They stopped coming after you?
yeah, because we managed to get down to the favela where there's police patrolling the favela. So the police were just like, basically in Brazilian Portuguese, "You fucking idiots." Like, what were you doing?
Was it just a case of wanting to rob you or kidnap?
Well, a friend of mine reckons they were doing some kind of drug dealing at the top of the mountain.
Right.
Because he had been there many times before to see sunrise, and there was never any problems.
Yeah.
But just
Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Did you go back?
Yeah.
It was just, we're about to see the sunrise.
Oh no, not that time. No,
Right.
no. But I could stay at the bottom and watch the sunrise over the beach. I was like, I'm not like.
Yeah.
That's what I come to see, the sunrise.
Did you feel like you'd used up a life doing that, one of your 9 lives?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it didn't stop there because I cut my leg really badly. So we got down to the bottom and yeah, cut my leg right down to the bone. So had weeks of infections, living in Rio, 40 odd degrees.
Like this room.
Yeah.
Is this, how long are you travelling for?
And I was away for 2 years.
Oh, hell. Okay. While suffering.
While suffering, yeah.
Yeah. What about any sort of therapy whilst doing that? Were you like self-medicating, as in like drugs, alcohol?
At points I was self-medicating with cocaine.
Yeah.
And alcohol. But then my friend put me in touch with a spiritual community in Brazil, well in Rio, and they use a plant medicine called ayahuasca. Well, they call it Santa Daime there. So I began using plant medicines, which is...
Go on then, tell us about that.
Really...
Alternative medicine.
Yeah.
What's your experience with this then?
So my first experience in there, because it was in a church environment, it was quite nice. It was quite pleasant. And then stuff started coming up. So just really, really unpleasant feelings, sensations in my body. So I don't know if you've ever watched somebody go through like a somatic release. So I'd literally just be laid in like a therapy room in the church, and my body would be going full convulsion. Lots of crying, lots of screaming. But you just don't know. With the plant medicines, you don't know what's going to come up. And that's what I love about it, because there's always stuff lurking in our subconscious. So yeah, that's
Why is that not used in Western medicine?
because it's hallucinogenic.
Yeah. Doesn't give the money, does it?
Doesn't know.
It's a big pharma.
Big pharma.
Yeah. So is that where you are now, massively down alternative medicine route?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in terms of when you're with clients and whatnot, is there anything you can advise, or is this just from your own experiences?
What, with the plant medicines?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't advise clients because it's not legal in the UK, unfortunately. So
Disclaimer. Just get that in there quickly now.
Yeah.
Yeah. A fair one. So okay, so you've gone travelling. Any other exciting episodes getting stopped at gunpoint?
yeah, I got stopped at gunpoint another time as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You attract it.
I'm a really curious person, so I'm just like off like on my own little world. Oh yeah, I'll go and have a look at this. And I didn't realise I was living in one of the most notorious crack neighbourhoods in Rio. I didn't find out until I actually moved there. And me and my friends were going down a street. Two guys were on the back of a truck. Tried to say that I was police, and I was like, I'm not police. I was like, now policia. And he's like basically telling me to take my clothes off to show that I've got no weapons. So taking my top off and putting on trousers. Yeah, and then he said, oh, okay.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the purpose of going travelling when you went?
So the purpose was, right, so my childhood dream was to go and see a World Cup in Brazil.
Football fan.
Football fan, yeah. Not so much nowadays, but yeah, I was a huge football fan at the time. And I got tickets. So that was my drive, you know. It kept.
What was that 2004? Yeah. Yeah. It wouldn't
14
be.
or.
Oh, 14.
Is it 14?
4, 8, 12, 13. No, that would have been the Euros. It would have been 2016. Yeah. Is that what it was? Rio 2016 to know. Make it. No, it was the Olympics. I don't know, making that up.
Yeah, I can never remember the dates.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was part of why I was going travelling. And yeah, that just kept.
But did it turn into this spiritual healing, the way you come back a different person because of what you found, right?
Yeah, my friend said, oh, have you read the book Eat, Pray, Love? And I was like, no. So I read the book, I watched the movie, because they were like, your life, your traveling experience is a bit like Eat, Pray, Love, but just really traumatic.
If you hadn't have gone, where would you be now?
Probably, just trying to think, probably in the boozer, watching football on the weekends. That's kind of what I was doing. Actually, no, just before I left, I was training triathlons and competing. So actually, no, that was an episode before that.
So you come back a completely different person.
I was very different. But I came back completely different because by this point, the PTSD had turned into complex PTSD. I had contracted 11 foreign viruses.
I'm not laughing.
I know. You couldn't write it, Ollie, honestly. And chronic fatigue syndrome. I was fucked. My brain had just kind of basically shut down my body, you know. There's only so long you can live with that amount of trauma before your body starts shutting down.
It gets picked up in other areas.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then coming back, all alternative therapy, or did you seek other help?
Yeah, so I had mainly alternative therapy. So I did a lot of energy healing work. I was going to like this little Buddhist place, and I was doing like sort of chanting and stuff. I trained, and we'll go into that. I started using Kambo, which is a frog's venom that detoxifies you. I was given EMDR therapy for the NHS, but it wasn't enough. She kind of she didn't really know if she could actually help me. It was that bad. Because that wasn't like the only attack. There were many attacks from men whilst I was traveling. And yeah, I'm just trying to think what else I did. Diet was massive. I had to look into my nutrition because gut health is massively important, and not just for mental illness, you know, for our general well-being as well. So I did juicing, vegan, vegetarian. What was the other diet I did? I explored all these different diets to try and get my body back working
The
efficiently.
gut-brain connection. There's a talk actually next week I'm going to. When this is recorded, this is obviously in the summer. In Exeter, there's a place. I'll send you the link afterwards. It's called the gut-brain connection, about how the gut and the brain connect. Funnily enough, but how it's not. You know, the gut isn't just responsible for releasing minerals and vitamins and how we absorb our food and all that, but it's how it affects the body. And mental health is a massive one. And there's a lot of research now. I say now, it's probably been around for a long time, about mental health illnesses and gut health. So it's more important than just looking after your gut from a point of view of thinking like vitamins and minerals and how it affects the entire body. Yeah. The EMDR, is that the right word to say it?
Yeah.
What do they do in that?
It's eye movement desensitization therapy. So
Which is what you mentioned at the beginning. But how does that work from a therapy, like the practicalities of it? What do you do?
So it's a structured process, and you sit there sort of in the room going through the trauma, and I was watching a light bar. So it's bilateral stimulation. So you're watching a light bar and whilst you focus on the trauma, and then it helps you to process the traumatic memories.
Okay.
However, EMDR, I found it quite a traumatic experience because I was having to disclose stuff. Like I was having to talk about stuff that I didn't want to talk about. I didn't want to tell anybody, you know, stuff that was incredibly painful. So I come to the end of my sessions with the NHS. The psychologist I was working with suggested, due to my background in health and social care and mental health, that I trained in eye movement therapy. So I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, you've got a very analytical brain. She said, you're really taking everything in. So I found Joanna Harper, author of The Trauma-Informed Coach, had a conversation with her, and she said, I'd love to have you. She said, you've got lived experience, your work history, and you've had experience with EMDR. So that was just little, yeah.
Does it help having had therapy to then when you go on to be a therapist and coach people, having had the therapy yourself?
Absolutely. And I believe like some of the best therapists I've worked with have all got that life experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It enables you to really connect with your clients, you know, and have that empathy, have that compassion, not be judgmental. Because I've worked with therapists in the past that have been really judgmental and really shaming, you know.
That's massive. Which I spoke about this on one of the podcasts earlier about what I do.
Yeah.
I built this based around my struggles. I built this based around my health and wellness that was lost for various reasons, and you know the struggles we go through. Certainly as me as a parent, but as we go into our 40s and all the weird and wonderful things that happen to us, men and women. But this was really important to coach what I know. How do I know it? Well, because I've done it and I've been there.
Yeah.
And it's the same with you. So that's amazing. It gives you that massively gives you that empathetic approach, right?
Absolutely. It's that turning pain into purpose, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take a huge step back to young Laura. Tell us more about where you were when you were growing up in terms of like, you know, I know you spoke about PTSD that gave you sort of the mental health issues that then obviously ended up affecting you as your life went on.
Yeah. So without going into too much, I grew up with childhood ACEs. My dad was ex-military. He ended up being incarcerated when I was 16, literally day before I was going to college. Now, I was really athletic up until that point. Well, actually, I've stayed athletic. However, that moment when he went into prison, the shame, It was horrendous. And I just started getting in with people that were using drugs, and I was drinking heavily. I was already drinking quite heavily anyway, prior. And yeah, I just got into drugs and on and off partying to start with. Ended up in quite a unhelpful relationship, and ended up with a really bad cocaine addiction. Sniffed so much cocaine and Valium that I almost killed myself.
This is the late teens.
This was early 20s.
What's the turning point? What stopped you doing that?
I got rid of my ex-partner. And then it was just a case of just rebuilding myself again. Got back into work because I'd stopped working, and got back into exercise. And then a few years later, I was training in triathlons and won my first race, you know?
Can you remember though, where like it couldn't have been as simple as just going, well, I just got rid of my partner and then I just went like that, bosh, and off you went. Can you remember how that process sort of came around?
Oh, it was horrendous. I was so depressed. Really, really depressed. And yeah, I wasn't really doing anything. I was literally just at home. GP kept trying to give me medication. I was like, it doesn't work. I'm not receptive. I've never been receptive to sort of antidepressants.
Was this because while you're taking cocaine?
No, this has been before as well. Yeah. Because I'd stopped, when he left, I stopped taking the cocaine. And yeah, then they were trying to get me onto antidepressants. I spoke to a different doctor, and I said to him, I said, it's the environment. I said, it's the people I'm around. I said, if I can change my environment, change the people I'm surrounding myself with, and start getting back into healthy habits, my life will change.
Mm.
And this GP agreed with me, and he said, yeah, I agree with you. He said, it's not the answer. Not that I'm dismissing antidepressants at all, because some people need them, but for me, it's always been exercise and nutrition.
Yep. Yeah. And I've spoken about this many times before, and it sounds really cheesy, but you surround yourself with people on the same mission as you. You surround yourself with positivity, remove yourself from negativity, remove yourself from that toxic behaviors from perhaps a partner that is leading you down the wrong path or abusive, or I just can't just leave. I get it. There's other complications there. But the point is, whatever you're trying to do, and this is when I talk about health and wellness and what we do, is you have to surround yourself with people that are, on the same mission as you and trying to do what you're trying to do, because you can't have people that are going to, it's hard enough to stop self-sabotaging and stop self-destructing without influences from other people. So I'm not suggesting you ditch your mates, but you have to distance some people and hanging on to the people that are going to propel you forward and help you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So removing yourself from that environment, that's a strong decision.
Yeah.
Big decision.
Huge decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on you go.
Yeah.
On you go. And then, was this before traveling?
Yeah.
And then off you go traveling and get held up at gunpoint.
Yeah.
Winner. Yeah. So after traveling then, how long until you became a therapist and doing what you're doing now?
So I've been qualified for about eight years.
Okay.
So, but it was a journey, Ollie. It was a real journey, because I had to sort out, I had to recover from the chronic fatigue syndrome, which took a lot of therapy. And then I flew to the Amazon. Did I tell you about that?
God, well, you're about to.
So when I came back from traveling and got diagnosed with the foreign bodies, I asked the GP to send me to tropical diseases clinic. He said, "Oh no, you just need to ride it out." Well, I started doing my research, and it's not good having these foreign bodies in our systems, parasites. So I started using something called Cambo, which is a frog's venom, to detox my system. And then a friend suggested that we went to train in it. And I was like, really? I've only had it a few times, but it's working. So at the time, I didn't have any money because I wasn't able to work. So I maxed out my credit card, booked a flight, sort of height of complex PTSD and chronic fatigue syndrome. I was trekking through the Amazon.
As you do. As you do. Tell us more about chronic fatigue syndrome. Like what?
In what sense?
Well,
It's
apart,
basically body.
apart from being tired.
Yeah. Literally your body shutting down, you know? You've got so much trauma and pain. The pain was the worst. It felt like I had somebody sticking pins in my limbs, and I was literally just floored. I was literally just floored in bed. But I started, whilst I was in bed, I started reading about all sorts. And I knew that the way to get through it was to go to therapy, to have therapy, to clear all that emotional stuff that I was holding on to for decades. And then the more therapy I had, the more energy I had.
Hmm. But in the meantime, you get yourself off to the Amazon.
Yeah.
And how long are you out there for?
5 weeks.
Been to some weird and wonderful places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Done about a fortnight in Lanzarote. Get yourself off to the Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like real culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to.
And then after that?
After the Amazon, I came back, and I think that's when I started the EMDR therapy. Went through that, and then I went to work in children's sexual exploitation services, and I was training then as well as a integral eye movement therapist. My training was it was amazing. I was able to shift so much, and there's still a lot, obviously, I was holding on to that, again, I didn't want to talk about. I didn't have to talk about it. So whilst I was working with the kids and doing my training, I thought, well, I need to set up on my own. Like, this is like powerful. So eventually I was able to leave.
The child exploitation, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Services. I don't know if I want to know about this, but I'm intrigued to ask. What's the the world of that?
It's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very dark. So I was working in residential homes for children that have been sexually exploited through county lines.
Through what?
Through county lines.
Right.
And paedophile rings.
Ah. The stuff we don't really know about.
No.
That I don't really want to know about, but there's that inquisitive nature. And I've got children. You read about this in the news and you hear about it. Not that I watch the news, to be honest, but there's a weird and crazy world out there that no one really knows about. So what's that like?
It was hard.
Whilst you're still suffering?
Whilst I was still suffering, yeah. It was hard, and I'm naturally I'm a very caring person, but I'm very protective. Very, very protective, and it showed on my work. I remember sometimes my boss saying, "You're like a bloody nutter," because I was that protected. I remember one time we had a child come in, gang affiliated. We knew it was a dangerous gang, and I wanted to know the ins and outs of this gang. I'm on shift on my own, you know? And we didn't have any information. We weren't told any information. And that night, I'd worked out escape routes. If the gang turned up the house, because they do some of these homes, that I'd be on the roof.
The home is housing the children?
Yeah.
And you're looking after them?
Yeah. Because these kids are worth a lot of money to these gangs. A lot of money. Back then, I think it was about 80,000 a year or something. That's how much money they can get for these kids sexually trafficking them.
I don't think I want to know this.
No, you don't. I think you've opened jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible.
What made you go into that though?
So when I look back, I had a friend who was murdered in my teens. And it was along the same lines. And it was, when I think about it, it was almost like something in me was just kind of, it's been my driver, you know? This unknown driver in me that's kind of been leading me down these channels of where I need to be.
Fixer. Helping people.
Yeah. But it's in my blood. It's just.
if you look at my work history, I'm very similar. I was a prison officer, I was a custody officer, I was a police officer, only for a few minutes, but I was still there. Coaching, strength and conditioning coach, health and wellness coach. There's always an element there of fixing, being a fixer. And I spoke again on other podcasts about sometimes, and as a parent, as a father, you can't always be a fixer. You've got to be a listener. And you've got to, like how I speak to my children now and how I try and bring my children up, I've come away from that being the fixer and the director, like this is how we need to do it. This is this. I'm very much now I'll listen a lot more, and I'll ask you, how does that make you feel? And things that I never thought I would say coming from the military. It's just like, just fucking do it. Just go. Just everything's just like this. And now, like as I become a better coach and hopefully a better father, I listen more and try to stop being that fixer, the alpha male bloke, ex-Marine, coachy. Sometimes we need to take control and do that. That's fine. But yeah, similar to you, I want to help people.
Yeah.
I want to help people. But then I'm saying, don't be the fixer.
Yeah.
But you can be the fixer without being the fixer.
Absolutely.
You can be the fixer without directly fixing. Yeah. And that's what I find challenging and rewarding. And again, I'm talking as a parent here as well, to sit and listen.
Yeah.
And listen to my 15-year-old and go, how do you feel? What do you think you should do? Oh, right. And it's a completely different approach.
It is.
Which is great. And we grow, don't we? We grow and we learn from our mistakes. So yeah, but yeah, I understand why you might want to go into that. Well, no, I don't. That job, that's dark, but it's that need to want to help people, isn't it?
Yeah.
And after that?
After I had a breakdown. My father committed suicide. And expert. And I had a huge breakdown, just fell apart physically, mentally, and then recovered again.
Just one thing after the other. Have some more shit.
Have some more shit, yeah. Well, there's a saying, the universe apparently only gives you what you can handle. Well.
So how long ago did you lose your dad?
3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 years ago.
And he was a military veteran?
Yeah.
Who did he serve with?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. But I know that he was in Northern Ireland. Yeah.
Dear, oh dear, that's sad.
Yeah. And that was
how did you deal with that?
Lost my mind. Yeah, at times I was actually screaming to be sectioned. Actually screaming to my GP, just section me. Yeah, my head just literally just went.
You're close to him?
Not that close, no. Which made it harder. Yeah, I think that made it harder.
Why?
Yeah. I think it's much. There was a lot of inner conflict, a lot of inner conflict, a lot of guilt. Yeah, a lot of guilt, but there was also a lot of anger, a hell of a lot of anger towards him, because I was doing really well in my career, and literally just everything just fell apart. I was pushed out of my role at work. Went to work for an organisation and just wasn't supported at all, despite going through endless amounts of therapy. It was literally just one thing after another.
He's still coping with it?
No, not so much now. Like, it was his anniversary. When was its anniversary? In March. And actually, it was the first time I've actually felt okay. Which is still really early days, I know. But it was actually, I felt at peace. I've come to terms a bit because I understand mental illness. I understand PTSD. My dad was living with untreated PTSD, I guarantee you. And I've been at times in my life where I felt like, I felt suicidal. I felt like there's no way out. But I know the consequences, the aftermath, of what happens to everybody around you when you take your own life. Because it's fucking messy. It is so fucking messy. Yeah.
As we're finding out with more and more veterans every day, more and more, it's a sad state of affairs that needs fixing.
Yeah.
And I don't know the answer, but we again have just been spoken about before with veteran suicide. And what is the answer? Who knows? But it has to come from up above. It has to be driven from somewhere up in, Parliament, in positions, the support that needs to be delivered to military veterans upon leaving the service, the identity that they lose.
Yeah.
It's such a complex subject. I don't know the answer, but it's just, it will not stop. You're never going to stop it.
No, unless you stop war.
Yeah.
Which would be.
But you can slow it down and you can help and provide a better service, I think. And I don't think, in fact, I know there's not enough being done. There can't be enough being done.
No.
Of course, I'm very biased on that as well, but yeah. Anniversaries are a funny one. You mentioned, it was my dad died 3 years ago, completely different circumstances, of course. But anniversaries, like you said, that was the first anniversary you felt okay.
Yeah.
For me, like, I barely even blinked an eye on his anniversary because it's no different to me than any other fucking day. And my dad's not here.
Yeah.
And I didn't deal with it any differently than I would for another day. And my mum got all funny about it. And it's different for her. She was her partner for 50 years or something.
Yeah.
And this sounds really harsh, but I was like, another day. But people deal with it in different ways, I suppose. Yeah, she wanted to take herself back and do this and that. And I was quite harsh about it. I was like, fucking, right, okay. Or she was almost cross at me and my brother for not being upset.
Yeah.
I was like, well, no, I am upset. I'm just not making a big thing about this anniversary. But that's just me. That's how
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
that's how I deal with it. So,
I was quite just quiet and still that day.
yeah. But again, it's no different to any other day.
No.
It's not, and it's no different than it will be tomorrow.
And now, like, if like my dad and my granddad, they race greyhounds. So now when I see a greyhound, I just smile. I go, oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a bit of a shift, but
Again, completely different circumstances I get, but I've dealt with his death in a way that now allows me 3 years later to be grateful and remember
yeah,
memories, happy times, and smile, like you just said there. I have wobbles, of course I do, but
yeah,
not many, if I'm honest. And that's like, it's almost shocked me. I'm always sometimes a bit like on his anniversary, I was like, I thought about it and I thought about the day and everything, and I was like, should I be sad here? I don't know what's going on,
yeah.
but I managed to deal with it in a way.
It feels a bit strange, doesn't it? Like you're meant to be sad.
Well, yeah, because my mum was so fucking sad. She was like almost like wanting me to be sad, and I was like, I am, but it's different. And it's different, isn't it? Like you got a partner of 40, 50 years or a parent. It's a different relationship.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. It's harder for her. It's easier for her. It's different. It's a completely different thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I know that my dad would, the amount of pain that I was in, I know that he would not want to see me in any pain, you know? So I just have to kind of get on with stuff and, and just do what I do. Just being quite a cheerful, upbeat person, that's who I am naturally, you know?
But how do you deal with this trauma that we spoke about, PTSD? I mean, you've only touched on a few things that happened in your life that caused you to have problems. How do you deal with that? What's your toolbox? What do you use?
So I've got, I'm really, really lucky, really, really fortunate. I've got a lot of people around me that I can just reach out to, other therapists. I live a very holistic lifestyle. So as soon as I wake up, meditate, journaling, I write. I'm very reflective. I like to write throughout the day. Yoga, the gym, qigong, breath work.
What one?
What?
What's qigong?
Oh, I thought you were taking the mickey.
I was like, what ones? What's
qigong.
What's that?
Breath and movement.
All right.
You know,
Yeah.
like Tai Chi.
Yeah.
So I've got back into that. That was something I learned actually traveling. That was a tool that I found traveling.
Yeah.
To help. What else do? I spend a lot of time in nature.
Mm-hmm.
eat a really clean diet.
Grounding, take your shoes off, go and walk on the earth. Or the grass.
Absolutely.
Do that, oh yeah.
And I'm very careful what I consume. So I don't really watch television. And this is I always say to people, I'm always curious of what people are watching, my clients, especially if they've got high levels of trauma and they're still quite dysregulated and they're having nightmares and stuff. I go, what are you watching at night? I've been watching this, and it's like dramatic, really violent. So I was like, do you know what that's doing to your fucking nervous system?
Yeah.
I was like, stop it.
Yeah.
I was like, put something on that's a bit more cheerful, a bit more happy.
Friends. Yeah. Friends is on loop. We've got every, in this day and age, right? We've got every channel you can possibly want to watch ever, right? On that TV out there. You watch anything, Friends. On it goes 100%. Even if we're not watching it, it's on in the background. It's this happy-go-lucky. And when I say all the time, I'm serious. Yeah, like probably, I'd say 9 times out of 10. I deviated a couple of nights ago, and there was a really good documentary about a woman called Ocean Ramsey, I think she's called. It's about sharks.
Yeah.
And I've got a phobia of sharks. In fact, no, I haven't got a phobia about sharks. I've got a phobia about getting eaten and dying. So, but it's just like sharks are that thing that I'm just like that. Wow. But I watched that, and it was fascinating. That's all about nature and that. She's trying to change the narrative of like sharks are not dangerous. They are dangerous, but they're not these predators that's going to come and eat you out of nowhere. Anyway, I digress, but that went on. But I don't watch violent shit. Like, and I can't, if we ever start to watch a film and in the trailer or in the opening scene there's a child, I'm like, that's going off because that child's probably going to get killed or abducted or something's going to happen to it, and I'm not interested. No. And that goes straight off. People don't understand why I don't watch like war-y things. I'm like, I don't want to watch fucking that. No. I like watching World War II documentaries and learning.
Yeah.
That's slightly different. But no, I won't watch like action things.
No.
No, I'm a bit like, well, quite a bit weird. I don't watch anything. Literally don't watch anything. Like terrestrial TV, I didn't even know that still existed. I mean, my mum, bless her, she'll call me, she'll go, oh, have you seen that such and such is on BBC Two? I'm like, fucking what? BBC Two? I don't even know. I wouldn't even know how to get that. But yeah, no, that's true. Like, what are you watching at night time? Yeah.
Because I was like, back along, I was advised to watch Gangs of London.
I did watch that.
Yeah.
And it was actually very good. I just said, I don't watch violent stuff.
And it was from the point of like sort of county lines, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I put one episode on, me and my friend were watching it. He was loving it. And I was literally laid on the sofa, quite relaxed to start with. And I could feel the tension in my body. And I was just like, oh. And I kind of got into bed and I was just literally just so tense. And I was just like, people are watching hours and hours of that shit, not even aware of what's happening to their bodies.
I've got a history of poor sleep, but recently I'd say in the last 3 to 4 months, it's been really, really good. And actually, do you know what? It's just like a therapy session, this. Yeah. I think I've just answered my own question in terms of what have I been watching before bed. I think the last 3 or 4 months have been more about Friends and like things like that, because I just gave it the big one, but I did watch Gangs of London. I did watch it. And there's other things that I've watched. Remember Ozark? That was about 3 years ago.
I liked Ozark.
Yeah, but that was like all drug criminals and that. But that's still quite an aggressive. Don't know, but I do. So I'm not belt feeding them, put it that way.
Yeah.
And I don't really watch films as such. I've got a low attention span. It's got to grip me straight away.
Same.
And that's it. It's going off. Like most things just go straight off, and I just go boom, back to Friends. But that's interesting, yeah. About how you're feeding your brain, about how you're feeding your nervous system. How are you winding down? It's what we talk about on our program with health and wellness. We talk about grounding, breath work. So slightly embarrassed I didn't know that one that you mentioned, but I'm not at that stage yet. People think I'm a health and wellness coach, but I'm not. For me, it's about learning. Yeah. I'm still learning. I made this project. I made this program. I built this business based on my experiences, but I'm far from perfect. Far from perfect. I'm constantly learning. It's only recently I've started taking my shoes and socks off and going to walk around on the grass outside, thanks to Nick Goldsmith. Go and read his book, Hidden Valley Bushcraft. Quick plug for him there. But it's about getting out in nature and doing things like that. Like when we do go for a walk, I'll be the first to stop and watch a sheep or something, or just go and watch something. Like we got a little. I've told so many people this. There's a bird that comes and sits outside in the patio. I'll introduce you to him as we go out. He's called Colin. And we just sit there and watch him. I named him Colin. But he just sits there and I just sit and watch him. And it's just really fascinating watching his behaviours and what he gets up to.
Yep.
but it's nature. This is what health and wellness is, holistic health. People laugh, but it's not just about the fast-paced life that we've got, eat some good food, go to the gym and hope everything's going to be okay. It's fucking far more complex than that. And there's so many more layers to it, starting with what are you putting into your brain at nighttime? What are you watching? How are you feeding that system? Like I said, for me, breath work, not quite there yet, but I've been going to yoga recently. And during the yoga, she's talking about breathing. I'm like, fucking, I'm gonna laugh because I'm just shaking. I'm not at that stage yet. Yeah. But mindfulness is a big one for us.
Oh, massively.
Yeah. And it's only been the last year since I've created this program, had my coaches come in and I listen to them. But mindfulness for me is just about, like I said, sitting outside with Colin and just appreciating where you are and listening to the surroundings, even if there's a clang or something gets dropped, there's an annoying noise or a digger. It's being aware of your surroundings, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I would have thought before a year ago, I would have gone mindfulness. I can't do it because I was too many distractions. But now it's about being aware. Yeah,
just
being aware of like your surroundings, which is I think that's a game changer, and that's where that relaxation comes in. So there's still so many layers that I need to start going through, breath work, the stuff that you spoke about. So there we go. So that's your toolbox. And then what would be your advice from a coaching point of view in terms of all that we've just spoke about there? How does someone start from nothing that's uber stressed, overweight, unhealthy, maybe lots of anxiety, and where do you start?
I would probably start. Well, I'd see what's most important for them. What's the biggest problem out of all those problems? What's the biggest problem?
People are too busy, hectic,
Yeah,
on the go. They got to find that, haven't they? They got to find that time to do something
absolutely.
that isn't fast paced.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, so I'm just jumping in on my question to you
Yes.
there. I would say for a lot of people, it's not, believe it or not, I'm going to say this, it's not going to the gym. It's adding another stress into your life. It's controlling other stuff first, probably nutrition, hydration, sleep.
Absolutely. Especially if you can't afford to go to therapy. I always recommend people start with their heads.
Definitely.
Yeah. Start with the mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And a little bit of light movement in terms of walking.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 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 I always say to people, going to the gym is a stress. Exercise is a stress, right? So it should be a good stress. Break the muscle down, grows back bigger, stronger, faster if you sleep and recover and eat properly. But it's a stress. And when I also mean it's not just a physical stress or a physiological stress, exercise can become a stress because it's like, fuck, I've got to go to the gym and it's a 20-minute drive and I've got to do this and that. And all of a sudden it's like a 2-hour evolution. So that's when I say to people, take stresses out of your life. So believe it or not, don't go to the gym for the moment. Let's just get out and get some fresh air.
Yeah.
Do the stuff that we just spoke about. But yeah, and I know that I don't do enough of that because I do the fast-paced stuff really, really well.
I like the fast-paced stuff.
Yeah.
However, my body took it last week. I don't know how many treatments I've had like since Thursday. Maybe 4 treatments.
On what?
On my body because I was literally fast-paced.
Right.
Spinning, running.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. As in training sessions.
Yeah.
Do you still see 360?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark and Meg have been a massive part of my recovery.
I should charge them for this. The amount of times I mention them on my podcast. For anyone watching this, 360 Rehab in Exmouth, get amongst it. Go on. What's your experience with them?
Well, I've been working with Mark more so the last year, maybe a little bit longer, but I kind of walked in the room and he went, how many car crashes have you been through? And I said, is it that obvious? And he was like, yeah. So I went through all of my list of injuries because that's quite eventful as well, the list of injuries I've been through. He began working, he's worked on, I don't know, all sorts of areas of me. One of the last times, my feet weren't working properly. And he was like, don't see why your feet aren't working properly. They literally, I'm just like almost like a penguin kind of walking. And he said, what's happened? You've had blows to your head. I said, yeah, but you've worked through quite a few of the blows to my head. And I went, oh, you didn't work on that one. What one was that, Laura? I got hit by a snooker ball. My first day at college. So he was, you know what he does? It's it's mind-blowing, isn't it, what mind does? So, yeah, so he was talking to my body, get rid of the memory,
Yeah.
all the...
Recall the pain and suffering. And
Recall.
when he says that, I'm like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you don't have to think of it. It's just your brain's already got it. And I'm like, I feel like I need to think about it. Yeah.
But yeah, physically, I wouldn't be as well as I am.
Right.
Yeah, and it's still a journey.
Yeah.
You know, physically. But
Yeah. We're very similar. Like, well, I mean, been working with him for 3 years now, and it's clearing stuff out, as he says. For people that don't know, so Mark at 360 Rehab, functional neurology, so it's working within the body, the circuit board, as he says, resetting the system, making it all work in harmony. So pain site is very rarely the problem site. Trauma is held in the body in so many different areas. So a snooker ball to the head is probably even affecting your feet in some weird and magical way, but it's all proven through muscle testing, and of course it's proven through the results themselves. And I've said to many, many people that when I was medically discharged from the military after 2 years in rehabilitation, spent my own money, flew to Italy to see specialists. I saw chiropractors, osteopaths, I saw surgeons, consultants, doctors, you name it. Nobody could touch me. Like literally nobody could touch me in terms of like pain and where I was at. I'm talking physical pain that then became mental pain and mental problems. Enter 360 and a hell of a journey that's still ongoing. And I said to him on my first podcast, we sat just here, and I said, I referred to him as the man who saved my life. Now, I was never suicidal. I've never been in that place that you spoke about. I never have, thankfully, but I was at a very low point. And I referred to him as the man that saved my life. And he's like, casual, but I'm like, I'm fucking serious. Like, so this is why I always big them up so much, because being a fixer that we spoke about, I want people that have got owies and niggles, knee injuries, shoulders. And I say, well, how long have you had that? And they go, oh, been about 5 years. I'm like, what? Why have you not got this? Well, I see a physio, and it's not bashing other physios now, and people do amazing things, but they go, oh, I've seen a physio, and fucking hell. Like, you need to go and see someone and do some in-depth stuff. What we've just spoken about, trauma. You don't have to believe it or buy into it. It's not voodoo, it's science, it's functional neurology, but let somebody tap into the system of how everything works. So that thing we were saying when he says, think about the 3 aspects of the pain and the suffering. You don't have to think about it, because your brain goes, before I've even clicked my fingers, your brain has just gone, got it. And that's what's mad. And it's amazing how the body can shut down or enlighten once things are stimulated or not.
Yeah, he is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I refer to him as my hero.
Yeah. Oh, we're absolutely bigging him up here, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. But Meg as well. Meg's working the feet up. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
It is. It's incredible. This is why I send so many people there.
Yeah. Well, you sent me there.
I did. Yeah. I should get commission, really, shouldn't I? Yeah. But no, I did. And that's when we spoke, and I that's when I connected the dots, because he had actually said to me, he had thanked me and said thanks for sending Laura, and I was like, who? And it took me a while to work it out. Do you know, funny one, I've spoken about this literally in the last couple of weeks to a few people when I was talking about the work that they do, talking about stored trauma and stored pain around the body and how it works and how it affects us. And I'd spent about a year ago, we went through about a 5 or 6 month period working with Mark, and he sounds really dodgy, couldn't get into me, couldn't get into my system. Every time I saw him, my neurological system just shut down. Even though I was led there relaxed, I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. He couldn't get into my neurological system because I was too shut down. So one day after we tried for quite a few sessions and it just wasn't quite getting there. So I stood up. He goes, let's try it standing up. Rather than lying on the bed, let's try some work standing up. And I just shaved my head that day. And he walked behind me. And he said, what's that scar on the back of your head? Yeah. I was like, whoa. Oh, that. Oh, I know. God. I think what happened when I was a baby, my brother pushed me out of the pram. Cheers. And I smashed my head and got rushed to a hospital, and off I went, and I was a little baby. And he went to me, care to tell me that? Does it sound familiar? And I was like, well, I've never spoken about it. I know the story, but never once do I walk around going, I've got a scar on the back of my head. It's just something I don't speak about. Now, what was happening every time I was lying down and that scar was coming into contact with the bed, it was it was shutting me down. So lo and behold, as soon as he stood up and did something with the scar and did some weird neurological stuff, my body just came back to life, and it was proven through the muscle testing and everything. Anyway, so that was great. So I came home, and a couple of days later, I think it was, or maybe a week later, I sat at my desk and I was editing one of these podcasts, and I was editing the podcast I did with my brother, which I think was episode 3 or 4. And I couldn't believe it. I just sat in front of Mark, or stood in front of Mark, and told him, I've never spoken about this. I literally don't even remember the scar. Like, what are you on about? And it had that much of effect on my body. Yeah. There I was on the podcast, editing it 3 days later. Now, the podcast I was edited had been recorded before I'd seen Mark, right? And I found a section on the podcast like this, where I'm sat talking to my brother, and I went to my brother, do you remember when you pushed me out of the pram and I smashed my head? And he went, I don't really remember it, but Mum told me. And I say on that podcast, I should really probably tell Mark about that, because that's probably got an impact. 3 days before that, I'm stood in front of him going, I've never spoken about that. So that's how to, and this isn't a case of forgetting things. Honestly, Laura, I rewound it and rewound it and rewound it. I could not believe what I was seeing. I did not fucking say that. What has just happened? Because the brain just has this way of just shutting down the trauma. And I thought that was a really good example of, it's not just forgetting things, how the brain can just have this complete shut off to the system and go, no, we're not recalling that. And it was there in black and white, and you couldn't have written it. And then I seen him, I think it was a New Year's Eve, and I went, do you remember the scar incident? He went, yeah. And I went, Bump, watch this. I was like, oh my God, there I am saying it. Like, the brain stores it, protects it, and holds that because it's effective. And lo and behold, that was causing all sorts of shit in the body.
Mad, isn't it?
Mad, yeah. Yeah. But I'm glad you're having good results.
Amazing results. But what I like about Mike is work with it's the brain and body. Is it not just body? Is it working with the brain as well?
Yeah.
And that's what you need. You need the brain and the body incoherent.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work.
No, the traditional work, and again, it's not knocking other practitioners, because people are great in their own rights, but I've had so much treatment on the pain site or on the body, nothing ever in the brain. And the eye movement stuff that they do with the right eye, have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Which was the American Sniper thing. But it's, again, for people watching this that have got a hint of interest, go and watch episode 1. Go and, I'll put a link below for him, 360 Rehab, Functional Neurology. If you've got an owie, something that won't go away, a niggle, I bet it's because there's some stored trauma in there of some description. So you need to be prepared to be open-minded, but go in and spill the beans on potential shit that's happened in your life, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the field day with you.
Oh my God, yeah. They were just, yeah, they loved it. Well, I think they love working with me.
Yeah, finding another one and another one.
Oh yeah, that happened as well. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
But I was amazed by, even just by stubbing your toe, that knocks out your whole meridian line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just.
Mm-hmm. And the other big one is the vagus nerve.
Yeah.
And that's got to be something you work with, do you, when you're doing your stuff? Any sort of breathing techniques and whatnot?
Yeah.
Yeah. We went to a lecture actually in Exeter, and it was about the vagus nerve. It was fascinating. What do you know about that? Because I don't know a lot. What can you tell us?
I don't know.
Uh-oh. But essentially, again, how the central nervous system is run, and where stress comes from. And again, it's this holding on to tension feeling.
We feel a lot of trauma in the vagus nerve.
Yeah. But again, a big one he gets me to do, and I always fucking forget to do it, is at times of stress or pain, is to do breathing exercises to calm everything down. Sounds so simple, but it is. Can be. Humming,
singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, more good for the vagus nerve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Care to give a demo?
I naturally find myself just walking around humming.
Yeah. Feel good factor.
But isn't it feel good factor?
Feel good factor, yeah. I do a lot of singing. Walk around the house singing. Get told to shut up. It's good. Yeah. The what about does he get you to, that sounds really dodgy, the smelling the salts, that one?
Yeah.
You hear that one? Yeah. Also, we're probably not doing good service to this because we don't know enough about it. But there we go, 360. Anyway, look, back to you, last few minutes. Anything else you want to speak about on your notes of bits that we've spoken about? Tell us, plug yourself. Tell us more about what you do, who are the clients you work with, and how are you positively impacting them?
So I work with a range of clients, so from sort of anxiety, PTSD, trauma, ADHD, autism, depression, and then just general sort of coaching clients, whether it's business sort of coaching clients, just people that just need a bit of emotional well-being coaching. So yeah, so.
And how does that work in terms of like, so I'm remote, I do everything remotely, or we do everything remotely. Same with you?
Yeah, so most of my clientele are online.
Yeah.
And then I have some clients that come to my clinic at home.
What sort of stuff could they expect? So say, have you got like I suppose a niche, but a certain type of client that comes to you? I know you mentioned like businesses and whatnot, or business ladies and men.
Yeah, I tend to, at the moment, I go through sort of fits and stages. So sometimes I'll have a load of just people, just clients with just PTSD. And then at the moment, it seems to be a lot of neurodivergence. I think that's because of one of the qualifications that I have, and the ADHD kind of coaching side. And then I'll get an influx of, say, sexual trauma. I've just had a load of referrals for sexual trauma, particularly. And then just people that are just generally struggling. They don't know kind of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say to someone that's on the fence of like reaching out with, to come and speak to you about doing anything?
Don't waste any more of your life suffering.
Yeah.
Honestly, because it's.
You put that in your thing. You didn't. You never give up. Life is precious. You can rewrite your story.
Absolutely. I had to rewrite my story. I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to rewrite it.
Yeah.
I'm not stopping now.
Yeah. Good stuff. Laura, look, that takes us over the hour mark. It's been absolutely lovely talking to you. We're going to put your links below. So websites, socials, all your good stuff. We'll pop them below. If people want to reach out to you, then please, I encourage them to do so via your social media channels, websites, etc.
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on leave now for a while.
There you go. Excellent. And I'm sure we'll have you on again. I hope you haven't melted too much. We never had the break that we were going to have.
No.
I was watching the clock and we just pushed on straight through it. But look, that is...
We didn't melt. So
we didn't, well, I have a little bit, but that is episode 24. And what's amazing, I just want to say this. So Express Media behind the camera sort of disappeared out of the room because he's melting, but they've been fantastic in producing these podcasts. Episode 24, which is this one, means that we've done what we wanted to do over the first year. So as this podcast gets released, that'll hit the year point for Beyond the Battlefield. So when I wanted to do this podcast, I just sat out with this idea of doing it. And it's just developed. We've now done a year. You've been the last guest of the year, episode 24. More to come. So yeah, if you like what you listen to, please subscribe on YouTube. Please, 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 because it just pushes it out further and further. Share it, like it, tell your friends about it, watch it, and hopefully you get value. But Laura, it's been absolutely superb.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming down.
And I think that, what is it? Cheers.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. Cheers.